one, and we are live. Thank you, Dr. Jaime Romero, to be here with us here today. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you, as always, of course.
The pleasure's
And
mine. Thank you.
yeah, and let's start. Could you just introduce yourself?
Okay. So I'm Jaime Romero. I currently live in Nashville, Tennessee. I have oral surgery practice that I run over here, and I was under Professor Reginaldo's, you know, uh, studentship. So that's how we got to know each other, and it's been a great journey ever since.
Awesome. Yes, and I'm very glad to hear that you and your whole family are trained jiu-jitsu again. That's awesome.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
matter where you are, man, you gotta keep training. That's what matters.
Once it
Okay.
gets in your blood, it's hard to get it out.
Yes. So, Jaime, I have lots of questions, man. 10 questions is not enough. Okay. Because, man, we know each other since what, 2012, I guess,
Yeah,
2011,
yeah.
something like that. And I think I never had a chance to sit down with you and say, man, let's talk about your life, right? I never
Right.
had a chance. And I want to start like from the beginning, right? You were you born here or Mexico?
I was born in Chula Vista, California.
California.
U.S. All my brothers, but I grew up in Tijuana, Mexico. So I was kind of a border kid. My father worked in the U.S., so we would travel back and forth all the time. Got very used to crossing the border and just living that border life. It's different. It's very unique. If you don't live in a border with another country, it's really hard to understand kind of what happens
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
how things have changed now too. It's huge change to how it used to be when I was a kid. But yeah.
Yeah, like actually, like you said, I don't understand. Your father is a Mexican citizen or American citizen?
They all have dual citizenship. What happened? My grandfather, he served in the U.S. Army long time ago, and my father was born in Santa Barbara, California, and pretty much everybody on my father's side is a U.S. citizen because of my grandfather and everything, and then everybody on my mother's side is Mexican. And my father and mother met in Tijuana, right there in the border, because after my grandfather died, my grandma just wanted to be in Mexico. Like that's old school mentality. I kind of die in my land.
Yes,
And
yes.
they want to be
Trust
buried
me,
in my
I
land.
understand that.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how citizenship, got it also birth and my father. But again, the wife pulled the husband to the family, and we ended up in Mexico, and that's why I went to school till sixth grade or so, fifth grade until I dropped out. Yeah, so
You until what?
I dropped out. So yeah, like so when I was 11 years old, I dropped out of school because we were like extremely poor, and my family, I was the oldest of four boys, and my family and we started working. We started planting trees. We moved to the U.S. planting trees, and my parents have never been a kind of family that's into like handouts. They believe in like really working and earning your keep. So even though we were American citizens, there was a lot of pride within our family, so we had to work, and it made us kind of tougher, I guess, in a sense, But ever since I was 11 years old, I didn't go to school till I was 17.
Wow,
Uh,
man,
yeah,
you
so I got
stay out of school. That's a dream
yeah,
for a lot of kids, right?
yeah,
My
yeah. It
kids,
is
if
a
my
dream.
kids hear that, you see, I can't do that.
Yeah, COVID-19, definitely the kids are loving it. But it gets old after a while when people start calling you like you're stupid, you're dumb, like you're illiterate. And my mom, I would hear her cry in the middle of the night because she couldn't hide. We lived in a van, so you could, like,
Wait. Wait a second. You drop out of school at the age of 11 years old because your family were going through a hard time and you're very poor, and then you were living in a van.
Yeah, so it's a big van, kind of like a UPS van, a little bit smaller than a UPS van. It's called a step van. My dad used to sell ice cream when I was a little kid, so he used that van and then turned it into like he just built a couple of beds, bunk beds or whatever, and we lived in it, and that's what we used to move around the country and plant trees. So we planted trees in Mississippi, in Kentucky, Tennessee, Michigan. So tree planting is a winter job. So as it got warmer in the southern states, we started moving north so we can continue to work. But then when spring, summer hit, then we started doing construction like roofing and masonry and all that stuff, you know. So I was no stranger to working with my hands and being out in the field, except that when I was around 15, we went back to California. And I remember sitting at a table with my grandfather. My grandfather had a third grade education, you know, and my mom a sixth grade education. My grandma couldn't even write her name. Her signature was literally an X. That was her signature. So I come from a very illiterate family. So when I was sitting at the table, my grandfather, you know, he was very hardcore, you know, like very dry, but you knew that he loved you.
That's the
And
one that
he
was
was
military, right?
this no, the one in the military died when I was like 2.
Okay, okay, sorry.
This is that was
The
on
other
my
one.
dad's side. This is on my mom's side. The family I spent the most time with was my mom's side of the family. So he sat at the table, made like brunch or whatever, you know, a few eggs, and then I'm sitting down, and he was having a conversation that he never really had with me before until that day, um, and told me just look at my hands, look at me like I'm all beat up. Why don't you go back to school, get an office job, and get out of the sun? And I told my grandpa I was making good money, you know, $500-600 a week, $700 a week at a time. You know, that's a lot of money for a teenager at that time too. We're talking like late 80s, early 90s, you know. Um, so my grandfather, you know, told me that, and then I told him like, okay, I'll go back to school, and then he asked me to promise him that I would go back to school. So I was reluctant because I knew I kind of didn't want to, but I did. I promised him I would go back to school. He died 2 weeks after I promised him that I would go back to school, and that like kind of it really ate me inside. So then we moved away from California again for some like gang related issues and like the big city stuff, you know. I was not in a gang. I was marked by one because I was defending the family. But regardless, you know, you kind of grow in that environment, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like there's some areas, some things that they find you, you don't find them, you know.
Yeah.
So my mom and my dad moved us to Tennessee, and my mom was telling me about this school, and I was like, no, Mom, I'm working. And then she kind of reminded me of the promise I made to my grandfather. So I'm like, okay. So I went and I started this school in an academy here in Tennessee. And I went in there. I was 17 going on 18. And I had a meeting with the principal because I had no records. I could speak English. I could understand English, but I couldn't really read or write English very well. You know, I was pretty illiterate on the English side. Uh, but I told the guy, you know, like, hey, you know, I want to be a senior. So they kind of chuckled and laughed a little bit. It's like, you can't be a senior. You're going to have records. You didn't even finish the sixth grade. You know, I can't make you a senior. So I told the guys, hey, if I get an A on everything that you guys throw my way, and this semester, you're the winter semester, will you make me a senior and I can graduate, you know, when I'm 18? And they kind of looked at each other and they were like, yeah, okay, we'll do that. So then I would work in the morning and I would go to school in the afternoon. You know, it's just like the way it is. I would wash dishes or do janitorial work, like
But
mopping floors and
but
stuff.
this school wasn't a full-time school?
It was a part-time school. It was kind of like a reform school where you go to school for 4 hours dedicated, like hardcore, and then you will work for like another whatever 4 hours, right? To kind of pay your tuition or whatever. So I would work and I would go to school, and then after that I would study because I had to learn English like pretty fast, reading and writing.
Yeah.
And the way I learned it was pretty much memorizing as much as I could. I still didn't know how to pronounce things unless they were memorized,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And yeah, like after like a hard semester, I finished everything with straight A's. So I go
Really?
back to them. Yeah, it was crazy,
Man.
man. I couldn't believe it, you know, but
So it's pretty much you took a vacations from 11 to 17 years old and you came back, okay, I'm back. And then boom, just got it.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So then I asked them to put me as a senior, and they kind of said like, well, you see, we didn't expect that you would make it, so we kind of just told you that because we just didn't expect it. So the next day I dropped out of school again, and I went to work construction the very next day. I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna do the GED because I can't be in school for 2-3 years. I
Yeah.
have to graduate. I have to,
Uh-huh.
like
Speed up, yeah.
move forward. Yeah. So then they called me up after a couple of days and said, you know what, after the winter semesters break, the winter break, we talked about it and we decided to graduate you with the rest of the class. So they did. And then the rest is history, man. I decided I wanted more. Like the promise to my grandfather kept playing in my head. Like I want more. And there's an opportunity to go to college. I took my SAT. I went into college with like probation on English and everything. So, but I'm like, I'm just gonna work as hard as I can, and one step led to another. Get military scholarship and this and that, and then I became. The rest is kind of history. But it was like that part of my life that kind of defined everything. A promise to a dying man, and which I didn't know he was dying, but he was pretty sick apparently. And then my mom reminded me of that promise, and my
Yeah.
parents just kind of pushing me. So
Man, that's very inspirational story. And I hope like somebody can hear this and take something good out of it because I did already. And I'm almost 50 years old, but that's just tells me that, man, it's not so hard, you know? It's not so hard. You can do it. Like, man, and every time like I see things like this, it helps me a lot with things that I want to quit or I don't want to do. I just think about it. What? Hold on, man. If Jaime did it, he's not better than me. I can do it.
that's right.
Right? I can do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I always tell people I'm not that smart. I just work hard.
that's it. It's like I keep saying, man, there's not so hard. It's very easy. You just have to do one thing, like work hard or just put some time on it and to whatever you want to do in your life, man. You can do it. It's really up to you, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome, man. Ask me something, please.
Okay. Coming from your background, and owning your own business and all that stuff, did you ever feel like you were over your head? I don't know if I can do this. Was there any doubt maybe you should quit, or what kept driving you to kind of continue to push that?
I think both things are at the same time. I feel that way all the time. I think I'm not able to do this. I think I'm not going to be successful with this. I think I'm not ready for this. I think I have to put more time on it. All the time. It's not just one day or like one time that I decide to do something. But everything that I do, man, I'm always like, man, I'm not good at this. But it's the same answer for the other question. What drives me, it's exactly that thing, you know? If something I think I can't do it, I want to change my mind. I want to prove to myself that yes, I can. Yes, I'm good. Yes, I can get better. I can do better than this. To everything in my life, Jaime. Everything that I did, that I do, I always try to become the best. Could be becoming an athlete. I want to be a world champ. Becoming a teacher. I want to change people's life, right? And change people's life is not just putting a gold medal on their chest, right? It's actually teach them what jiu-jitsu can do for them, what jiu-jitsu did for me and did for like people that I know since I'm trained jiu-jitsu, right? Because I've been like doing jiu-jitsu for a long time. So I have some experience to share. Like most of the things that I do at jiu-jitsu these days is because I have some background to talk about it, right? Let's say someone comes and talks to me, oh, my son has ADHD. Do you think jiu-jitsu can help him? And I say, I don't think I have 100% sure that's going to happen because, and then I have names in my head that kids that came with ADHD and had a huge success. Those ones that didn't have success or change it because they quit. Like you said, they didn't stick to it. You know, they think, oh, it's too hard, or their parents think, oh, that's not going to help him, and they just take him out. That's what happens.
Do you feel like the journey between being an entrepreneur, business owner, and your journey through jiu-jitsu has been the same? Like those uncertainties that you went as you kind of kept, mastering the jiu-jitsu side, you feel like you're like, okay, I'm mastering the same thing on the business side, like those same feelings, of uncertainty. Do you feel like you go through those?
Absolutely. And I bet you feel the same with your business because, man, we're learning every single day. And the only thing that we should know is that we don't know anything. Because if I sit back and think, okay, I'm the best manager ever, I'm the best this ever, it failed. Because there is always something new coming up, right? Always new strategies. You have to be, man, you know what? I start doing it that I haven't done in like 20 years or something. Reading, man.
Yeah.
Reading. I forgot how good it was, how good it was, man. I'm just eating books now, and it's not because I think it's fun, It's because I know it's necessary. It's like a drilling for jiu-jitsu. I know it's important that I should be drilling instead of just coming to class, learn the technique. Okay, I got this. No, you don't. Maybe you have an idea, but if you don't drill, if you don't exercise, your muscle is going to shrink. It's like your brain is going to shrink. And especially like, man, it's 2020. So many things have changed for the last 20 years, Jaime. You know that, right?
Right.
In the business aspect, in the life aspect, and everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Can I ask you another question related to that?
Yeah, sure.
So if reading helps you kind of bring something to your intellect, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel? Back when Gracie University got a lot of criticism,
Mm-hmm.
when they first launched their online school and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And COVID has completely shifted, a little bit of that philosophy that maybe intellectual knowledge helps, but obviously you still have to go to the gym. What were your thoughts, or what are your thoughts now about students, kind of gathering data, and learning stuff, and then come into class and either ask questions or incorporate those skills? Because I know when I was in flight school, for example, some instructors didn't want you to know anything. They wanted a blank sheet of paper so they can mold you the way they wanted to mold you. But in jiu-jitsu, I don't know if you rather have a blank sheet of paper or you rather have somebody that kind of has been kind of learning and reading and studying stuff and come into class that way,
As an instructor, I'd rather have a blank paper because it's easy to teach. It's easy to correct mistakes that he has done or learned, like bad mistakes, because everybody makes mistakes. And not that I'm the best out there teaching, but especially if you learn from a bad source, and that's going to become a bad habit. Of course, we can work on that. We can fix that. We can change some misbehaves, right? But it's way harder than a blank paper. Because of the blank paper, man, you can build from the bottom to the top. The base, you can create the base first and then move up, getting up. But once you pass this phase, I like when people go out and research something more. Research, read. I always tell my students, man, you got to read something. You got to go online. You got to go on YouTube and try to move your brain, because it really makes me sad when my students, they don't know nothing about jiu-jitsu, just what I've been teaching during classes. But they know everything what's going on about the football league. They read magazines, they read articles about athletes, but they don't read about jiu-jitsu. And I say, man, jiu-jitsu is your sport right now. You should be the one that should be reading everything about jiu-jitsu. That's not gonna make you a better athlete, you know, but for sure it's gonna help you to become one. Give you some acknowledgement, right? That sometimes I don't have time to teach, or I didn't have time yet. And I'm not talking about techniques, right? Learn a new choke, learn a new something. But every time you learn and you go on YouTube, you learn a new choke, you make your brain like works, right? Your brain is working. Even if you messed up, you don't know what you're doing, but you're thinking about jiu-jitsu. And that's just gonna make you better, man. There is no way it's gonna make any bad for you. When the Grace Academy came, it launched the Grace Garage thing, right?
Right.
And the jiu-jitsu community everybody got mad, upset, you know. But actually, I like it. The only thing that makes me mad is because I didn't have that idea first. Man, what a great idea. Watch, I'm not going to say something and say that you're going to be the best. No, but I'm giving you a taste of jiu-jitsu, you know? You getting something out of it. Maybe that's going to move you out of your garage and find a real school and train with a real one, right? What I don't like is the belt system online, right? Promoting someone through Facebook, or I think that's just like very commercial. And I think jiu-jitsu, like the rank system, the belt promotions, is way, way more than just like learning techniques. I think you must have like a relation between the instructor and the student. You should know who that guy really is. Not what he does on the mats, but actually what he does out of the mats, right? And it looks like people these days, they don't care anymore. They just give belts away, or they sell belts for some price. I saw guys selling packages, you know, blue belt package, purple belt packages. And like you pay this, you take these lessons right here, and then you blue belt without even knowing the guy. You know, that's very personal. On a business aspect of it, man, it's a good idea. Why not? You're selling a product. If somebody wants to buy it, okay, go ahead, buy it. Right? It's like I'm selling a very old car, a trashy car, very expensive. I'm selling the car. You don't have to buy if you don't want to. But people buy it? Okay, good for me.
Right.
Right? Okay, my next question. So, when did you go to the military? Okay. Why did you decide to join the military?
So when I was in college, I needed money for school, and I had the one after me was graduating high school, and I knew that I wanted to move closer to home. I was at that time I was in school in college in Texas, and I was playing soccer, and I got a soccer scholarship, but it wasn't enough. It was just kind of helping. It was a partial scholarship. So I went to UT Martin, University of Tennessee.
What was your major there in Texas?
Biology.
Biology. Okay.
Yeah, biology. I started as a nursing major, but I felt like nursing was really hard and biology was easier. So,
but you had a goal, like after biology, I want to do this, or you just did it.
So I wanted to be a nurse anesthetist at first, but after nursing, it didn't sync with my way of thinking. In mind, I was already in probationary English, and I had a lot of classes that I hadn't gone to, right? So I was straight from like 6th grade to college pretty much with 1 year of school. So there was a lot of information that I didn't have. So science, for some reason, was easy for me. So that's why I figured, oh, maybe I can be a biology professor, and teach biology at school or something. I just wanted to be a little bit more than my family, just a little bit. And maybe my kids could be a little bit more than me. That's just kind of break the chain at one point. So I moved back to Tennessee, and my recruiter in UT Martin, I just walked in, tea, everything, like kind of baggy clothes. Yeah, everything was just completely, not groomed at all. and I told it was Captain Boyce at that time, and she asked me to kind of help you. I said, yeah, I wanna join the ROTC because I want to be a pilot. And I had, kind of looked for brochures about it. At that time, the internet wasn't very easy, so it was more brochures and a little bit of internet in there. So she goes like, okay, so sign up here pretty much. And so that gave me 2-year scholarship if I did their program. So I was set, I was sold, and that was my beginning of,
So
I have to finish that and then give the army my time.
you pretty much joined the military thinking about to finish the college. So they
Right.
would give you 2 years scholarship. How long was the contract when you sign up?
2 years, and then
So,
for me, I would get 2 years of my college paid for. They ended up giving me three, and then I would give them 8 years. And then I told her that I wanted to be a pilot, and then she said to be a pilot you have to be the best, and I said okay, and I also told her that I would like to teach biology or something, right? So then she told me, if you want to teach and you want to be a pilot, you should join the National Guard because you can have a civilian job and you can have a military job, you know. So that's what I did. I joined. I had no mentor, nobody ahead of me. I'm literally trying to learn as I go. So there's this 20-year-old kid trying to figure it out. So she gave me the guidance. I joined the Guard, and she helped me to enter an aviation unit. And as soon as I graduated, I got accepted into flight school, and that was my she was the one that actually pushed me to get into dentistry also. Not only did she push me to become a helicopter pilot, but she was married to a dentist, and she would always see my transcripts and everything to make sure that I was doing good. And she said, you should go to dental school, and I shadowed her husband. I liked what he did. And I said, I don't know. I don't like how you said earlier, you just don't feel like you're good enough. Like nothing is that I've
that's
always felt.
above you, right?
Yeah. It's like everything
That's
is
not for
above me. I
me.
always
Yeah.
feel like everybody's above me, and it pushes me a little bit harder to just get at par for them. I don't never feel like I'm above somebody. I just feel like I'm pushing just to be like them. And I told her, I don't know. I don't think I can make it. I was afraid. She ended up like sending everything to the school. She like brought the application and she sat me down. You're going to fill it up. And I go, yes, ma'am, and then so I finished the application, and one thing led to another, and I went to flight school, but then while in flight school, I get a letter from the school saying that they're wanting to interview me for a position in their dental school, and I was like
Okay.
completely in shock and blown away. But yeah, that was
So
that was my entry into the military.
and then you finished the flight school, became a helicopter pilot.
Yeah. And while I was in school, I got to like go through airborne training, air assault training, and do all the training that, pretty much everything they would send me to, I will go. You want me to jump out of airplanes, I'll jump. You want me to rappel out of helicopters, I'll rappel, whatever. So I was always extremely involved into like just honing my combat skills. And so after flight school, I had a choice because flight school was so demanding. And then the units require you to fly so much because you have to fly just as much or more than active duty personnel, because the Guard gets deployed often more times than active duty personnel. And so being the unit was in Nashville, in Smyrna, and I was in Memphis, it was really hard to go through dental school and fly. So I talked to my commander, and he advised me. He said, look, man, you can fly. You can fly as a dentist. You can fly when you're 50. You can fly later in life, but you can't always be a doctor. Go, like, let me transfer you to another unit, to a medical unit, and go be a doctor. And that was probably the best piece of advice that I've gotten in a long time, and I did. And I still, I've gotten out to fly with friends, and it's been fun, but I'm glad I did kind of what he suggested and pursue my medical career versus, my flight career.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then uh, when you graduate from like a dental school, were you still in the military?
Yeah.
You had to stay there
Actually,
for like 2 more years,
yeah,
right?
6 months after I graduated, I got deployed to Iraq. six months after graduating dental school.
Oh, you had to go to Iraq?
Yeah, I was doing an internship in oral surgery, because I specialized in oral maxillofacial surgery right after school.
Uh-huh.
Um, I was going to do 1 year internship and then a 4 year residency. And so I was halfway through my internship and I got deployed to Iraq. I was at that point, it was one of, if not the biggest prison in the world. We have like over 22 or 23,000 detainees. It was my role there was to kind of provide kind of dental / oral surgery care to soldiers and primarily prisoners. So yeah, that was like an experience because the people around didn't like us, so they would just throw bombs blindly. Hopefully they would hit something.
Just for fun.
Yeah, just for fun. So the alarms would go off all the time. And at first, when I first got there, they were tents. So they weren't gonna any motor round will go right through the tent like nothing, right?
Yeah.
But then they moved us to these things that look like almost like a Connex or a little storage trailer, like a pod. You
Uh-huh.
know, they actually call them pods. And so still the same thing. It's not gonna stop shrapnel or whatever, but
That makes you feel bad a little bit, right?
yeah, it does. It does a little bit. It gives you that false insecurity. But every time the alarm will go off, it's like run to the bunkers, run to the bunkers, and it's crazy, man. Because I'd never been like the kind of guy that gets traumatized, and I wasn't traumatized at all while I was over there. But I did get conditioned. I got conditioned to such a degree that I remember when I got back in the States, my phone rang, and every time they would tell you just run to the bunkers, don't get anything. I didn't listen to that order. I had all my armor and everything set to go. So as soon as I'm running out, I can grab it and put it on as I'm running out. So that was every time the alarm went off, I did that. So when I was in the States, my phone went off. I guess it was the alarm on my phone. Somebody was calling me. That's what it was. Somebody was calling me. I was in the top bunk, and I jumped down, and I'm going like, "Where's my armor? Where the F is my armor?" And I'm looking for the door, and the guy downstairs like, "Dude, like, it's your phone." So I'm like, "Oh man,"
Oh.
like, I like it wasn't trauma. It was more like I woke
Was it
up,
muscle
and I
memory?
just reacted. Yeah, it was
So
just
the muscle
reaction.
memory thing, reaction.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just like jujitsu, right? Like
Yeah.
moment of stress is whatever you're trained to do is what you're gonna react to. You know?
What things that I have done, I walked to like my friend's house a bunch of times, different friends, and when some houses like you take your shoes off
Right.
because I see the owner taking his shoes off when he goes to the living room or something, right? What I
Right.
do sometimes is I said, take my shoes off, I bow.
Yeah.
I bow to the carpet. Just I'm, nobody saw that. It's so natural. Take your shoes off and bow. When you
Yeah.
walk in a different like soil, like carpets. I do that all the
Yeah.
time. Some people don't
Yeah.
see it because usually they are ahead of me, so they can't see me. But I bow and oops. It's like when you try shake somebody's hand, they don't see it. You just go like this and go like
Yeah.
this.
Just pretend, right? Like
Yeah,
you bow.
yeah,
Hey, I think I saw a penny, but
yeah,
never mind. Yeah.
yeah. Just like that. Yeah. All right, your turn.
Okay, so why do you like motorcycles so much, and would you ever consider going cross country
Okay,
on a motorcycle ride?
good question. Watch, man.
Yeah,
Isn't that beautiful?
very
Oh my
nice.
God, man! You see the cables, everything, man. That's incredible. When I saw this, man, I have to have this. I didn't know they made those toys. They make those toys. So I love motorcycles, but man, I was just thinking about that, right? Watch. I like motorcycles. I like jiu-jitsu. I like surfing. I like skydiving. I like tattoos. I think it's just because I want to be different. I like it. I think I like adrenaline,
Yeah,
and I like freedom. I like, man, so many things. Like the motorcycle gives me that sensation that I'm just by myself with the wind on my face. I love the nature. I love the outdoors, and it's pretty much that's why I like it. You know, but I like to feel comfortable. I like to relax. Like I don't like to race, right? So the motorcycle is pretty much like to cruise and relax, chill, listen to a good music. I have my playlist every time I go for a ride, and like I forget about everything. Just ride, see the sun, the sunset, the trees, the wind here in Tennessee. It's amazing, man. I'm so blessed. I moved here, and yes, I consider going cross country motorcycle. I have a plan to go to take the Route 66, right?
Yeah.
And I was just researching the other day. I'm planning leaving from Chicago and go all the way to California on the Route 66. And I didn't know, like, there is some companies that you can rent a motorcycle. They have a whole package. You know, you go with a group of people, everybody rent your motorcycle, and you have like a hotel's night already, like scheduled on the way, it's awesome. Is man, I think that's a good idea, at least for the first time, right? I don't want to ride my motorcycle because I'm not a very good mechanic. And if something goes wrong, I don't want to spend like 2 days trying to figure out how to fix the bike, you know? It's way easier if I just go that way, just to enjoy, have fun. Maybe in the future, I want to do that with a backpack, with no hotels. Yeah. Just sleep on the road, like with a tent, some fire camp, you know? I want to do that too.
Would you do it by yourself, or would you take a family member with you?
A friend or a family member. I think not by myself. I'm not that lonely guy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like crowded people. I don't like lots of people around me. So if you ask me to go to a place, maybe I would go. But it's not. I'm not the kind of guy that go out every weekend. You know,
right.
I like to calm. Like if you invite me to go out for a drink or something, I would love to go. But I'd rather go to a place that I can talk to each other and have like a good music on the background than some place that's yelling and I can barely listen to you or I can barely talk to you. It's just the music loud, and I'm too old for that now. I don't like that. You know, some people love it. You know.
They get energy from it.
Yeah, I don't. So, talk about a little bit about business, okay? And when did you decide open your own business? Like, did you plan going to the dentist school? And okay, my plan is go to the school. After I graduate, I'm gonna open my own place, and I'll be my own boss, and life is gonna be so much better, so much easier. When did you realize? Okay, now it's time.
You know, like my journey on the business side has been very similar to my jiu-jitsu journey. You know, like I you know, we've known each other for a while now, and you've seen me every time I train. I don't care about promotions and belts.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to learn. It's like, and I take it as it comes, whatever comes. You know, I could be a white belt or blue belt, whatever, for the rest of my life, and it won't matter. I'm just taking it one step at a time, and I want to continue to absorb and learn. And when I'm in my business side, it was the same thing. I was just taking it in stride. It's like whatever takes me to the next level, I learned, and then, you know, things got easier. You know, school got easier, so I learned. And I never really had a plan as to like, oh, this is where I'm going to go. It's just that, you know, as I learned certain things, I saw some opportunities and I seized it. And then I got better at those, you know, traits. And one of them was business. And also by associating myself with people that were much more intelligent than me and had much more success than me, it kind of, my circle of friends changed to such a degree that I had good mentorship, I guess, or at least a good like measuring stick as to kind of like what I could become, or maybe I could try to be somewhat to that degree. You know, I never envied anybody. I actually wish everybody to be incredibly successful in whatever they do. But for me, it's like, man, it was all a challenge within myself. So when in school, I just wanted more. I just wanted to be more. I wanted to be the better and the most I could ever become. And it goes back to like that promise to my grandfather. And, you know, after graduating school, I decided to do the residency. And after residency, I got a job, and I figured it's like, oh, maybe I can, like, all these guys own businesses, so maybe I could own a business. And my first job, it just ended. The owner and myself just decided to go our own separate ways. So I was without a job for like 6 weeks, and a mortgage, and kids, and student loans, and everything. So I called this one guy up in Nashville, Dr. Lindsay Cooper. And I remember talking to him, and I go like, hey man, are you looking for an associate? I was considering going back in the Army, active duty. I mean, I was like in desperate mode. 6 weeks without work, and you have a family to support. Like, you do anything, right? I consider going back to work at Home Depot, Walmart, whatever. I was never too proud to make money and keep food on the table. And I remember the guy, he picks up the phone, because I didn't even think I would get through. I thought it was just going to be his staff that's going to give me the boot or barrack, But, he picks up the phone. I ask him, hey, man, you looking for an associate or something like that? He's like, look, I'm not looking for any associate or an employee, but I'll sell you my business. And, like, it took me back, because never once had I considered owning a business before then. Other than the job I had, it was going to be like a transition. I'll work for you for a while, and then, I'll buy part of your practice, a certain percentage. And then, that was my only idea of owning anything. So here comes a guy, me with no money, no job, and tells me, I'll sell you this, for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm like, I barely have money to pay the rent, But I didn't say no. Even, like, I don't know what happened to me. As I'm talking to him on the phone, I said, okay. Like, we should talk more. I just needed more time to process the information and know what to do. And so we hung up the phone, and I'm thinking, what did I do? I told this guy okay, and I'm a man of my word, and I have no money. So, but I did say, let's talk. So then when I started talking to him, I learned that I could, there's all these banks, that could give you money and all this stuff. And I took the plunge, man. And this was August of 2013. And, that was the beginning of my journey. And by then, Trey, my oldest son, was training at Gracie, under you.
Yeah.
And then right there in Franklin. And I had just been going to class just to observe, because I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford to train. But after I owned my business, let me see who's got it. Sorry about that. Let me find out. Hold on.
That's Trey?
Yeah.
Man, what a nice story.
Yeah. So after that, man. So the following year, February, it's a Valentine's Day gift. My wife entered me to also kind of start taking classes. But yeah, that's kind of how it started. It was never like have this plan that I'm gonna do these things in my life. It's more like I surrounded myself with people that were doing certain things, and I would just kind of be observant and learn from that.
But don't you regret? Like, don't you regret? Like, man, why I didn't do this before, earlier? Because now I think now when you pass that phase, we think, man, I should have done this a long time ago, right?
Like the business side of it?
Yeah.
I would say I don't regret it, and I tell you the reason why. Because when I was with the other doctor and everything, there were some things that I learned that I wanted to do, and I also learned some things that I never wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So when I started my business, the things that I wanted to do, I magnified. And the things I didn't want to do, I eliminated from the culture of my office. And in a way, it kind of helped me to kind of grow in a different way. Like I was one of the first oral surgeons in Nashville to actually market directly to consumers. Actually, the first, because I don't care what anybody says, there was nobody doing it. It was frowned upon, right? Because you only market to dentists. And I didn't want to market to dentists, because dentists could say at one given time, well, I don't like you. I don't, and even if you're the best, it doesn't matter, because there's a personal thing. So I told the consumer, I'm going to do the best I can to serve you, the patient. And and that has changed everything, man, for me. And now everybody's doing it, you know. So it was hard too at the beginning because being the only Mexican guy with a private practice in Nashville in a southern state, I was a little bit nervous, you know. But it was not what I thought. At first I thought that it was gonna like keep people from coming to me because, you know, I don't know, it was just like a block in my mind just because of the things I've seen growing up in the South, you know, a little bit. There was just that element of fear, but it was not like that at all. People want to come to you if you're good, if you provide
Yes.
quality, if you
Yes.
care. They don't care about anything else, you know. And that like really changed my perspective almost immediately.
That's
Uh,
that's something that also I changed my mind, you know. I had a feeling that for being like a Brazilian guy, not being a white guy, people would like treat me different, right? But it's just the other way around, man. People has helping me and my family being with us since day one, since we moved here. It's funny because like in Brazil, when I was taking English classes, we learned that Americans don't shake hands. Americans they don't hug each other. They're very cold. They're very you can't get too close to them. It's always like that. They don't smile, and that's where I learned. That's the mentality that I had when I came here. And then, man, everybody that I met, you know, they'd be so friendly and so warm. Maybe not as warm as Brazilians, right? And because I used to hug and kiss everybody, I
yeah,
don't
me
do that
too.
anymore, you know. But it's okay, you know. I'm learning, just a cultural thing. But being Brazilian, have a different color skin, it didn't change anything. And also like it's like I can't process, you know, in my head what's going on out there with the riots about the Black Lives Matter, you know. I think it's because in Brazil we don't have like as many black people as we have here, right? We have lots of course we have black people in Brazil. We have racism. That's how you say it, racism in Brazil. Even though it doesn't make any sense because there is not such like 100% black Brazilian or 100% white. We all mixed, you know. I have black
Right.
blood, I have white, I have Hispanic, I have. When I go like to fill out a form here in US, that's something that I laugh because they have white, black, no, no, yeah, white, black, brown, yellow. I mean, who am I? I'm not
You're all of them.
black. I'm not white. I'm not yellow. I'm not brown. So who am I? You know, I just put human. I put race. I put human.
Yeah,
It's so funny, man.
it
Okay.
is fun, man. It's crazy. And now that you have your business and everything, would you consider venturing out to other business types, you know, as you kind of get more involved in everything, or would you just try to kind of expand on what you already have?
Yeah, my goal right now would be expand what I already have, right? Because I think it's like a challenge that I have as a goal, right? To become successful. And I don't feel that I am right now. So I have so many things to do yet as an entrepreneur. So of course, like in the future, let's say maybe if I have a chance, I'll jump in. If the numbers are good, I'll do it. You know, it's all about numbers. If you're talking about business, I'm talking about numbers. If the numbers make sense to me, I'll do it. It's better than having your money in saving accounts, which is not making anything to you. It's not bringing nothing to you. If you can make more money with selling ice cream, I'll do it. You know, if I have some knowledgement, if I knew something if I knew it that would be better, the numbers, I'll do it. I have nothing against no kind of business. That's it.
So the if money was never an issue for you, what is the, you know, how like how people ask this question is like, if money wasn't an issue, what would you do? Like, what is the one thing that you will wake up every morning and say I would do?
Okay,
You know, like,
good question. If money would not a problem at all to me, let's say I woke up today and I have $300 million in my bank account.
hmm
Let's say you passed away and you left some money for me, right?
right, right.
And then I would open a school in Brazil to help poor kids, to help homeless kids, to help kids on drugs, take them out of drugs. I'm talking about kids, man. Like some people here in the US, they don't understand what is watching like a 6-year-old kid homeless live by himself on the streets, maybe with a brother and sister about the same age, 6, 7 years old, or sometimes in prostitution, right? So I would make like a school for them, like a internal school. That's how you say internal. Like when people go
Yeah,
there,
like a
spend
boarding school almost, right? Yeah.
they spend the whole month right there, and with food, breakfast, doctors, the whole assistant, and of course, jiu-jitsu would be like twice a day. They would have to become like jiu-jitsu practitioners. That's mandatory. There's no option. Jiu-jitsu is the first thing they should do when they go there to the school. When you wake up in the morning, have a breakfast, rest a little bit, get on, go to jiu-jitsu class. Jiu-jitsu class is off. Okay, shower, school. And then after school, shower. Brazilians take lots of showers, right? And then shower, lunch, rest, study session, study hall, something. Late at night, jiu-jitsu again. If I had lots of money, that's my dream. And I always, of course, I think about like adopting kids, but I think that would help way more kids than just adopting one, having someone under my roof here.
But I believe that's kind of changing the future too, right? Because it is true that our kids are our future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you change the young generation, you can mold it to hopefully be better for the future.
And prepare them not just to become athletes, but to become like professionals.
Right.
Because the reality is, man, how many people becomes professionals? Let's say jiu-jitsu professionals, live out of jiu-jitsu. Man, there's less than 1% or 1%. There's 0.0001%. And you see so many people like putting so much time, so much effort to become like a world champ. And they do become a world champ, right? They're the best right there right now. But jiu-jitsu career, man, is very short. Not just jiu-jitsu, but any sports career. You can't stay on top for a long time, right? Especially jiu-jitsu. You're going to be 2 or 3 years a world champ, and after that, you disappear. And then if you didn't have like a good preparation, okay, now what you going to do now? The only thing you know is how to fight. You don't even know how to teach or how to run a school or nothing. You want lots of money, but you spent all of the money. You have nothing left. And then what's going to happen to the guy? Make sense?
Right. Yeah, makes perfect sense.
But
That's a noble cause.
If I had $300 million in my bank account tomorrow morning, I think I would give $1 million to you, doctor. Okay?
I will be dead because we'll be giving it to you, remember?
Yeah. I'll give one to you, because if people don't know, he's the one that gave me back my smile. Finally, man. I didn't smile for lots of years, and Dr. Jaime was the one that gave me back my smile, and you have no idea what that means to me or what the smile means to someone, right?
Man, I tell you, I can't believe you did like part of it awake, dude. I was like, man, you're gonna go beast mode on this? I'll put you to sleep, and you were like, nah, I'm gonna do it awake. I was like, tap out when you're ready.
Yeah,
you didn't
right.
tap out. You did not tap out. I was very impressed.
All right. My turn. So, I want to talk two things. Actually, one question, it's not official question. Okay, the mask for the COVID-19. Are you wearing a mask outside when you go to the grocery store, gas station? Are you wearing a mask? Yes or no?
I am not.
Okay,
I'm
good.
not.
And another question is, I don't know if you know the answer, but I read that those masks doesn't help with anything for COVID-19.
Yeah, apparently the only mask that actually helps is the N95 mask, right? Because of the size of the particle.
Mm-hmm.
All the other masks, the cloth masks,
Yeah.
it may help a little bit, but man, like you've been to the store, you're outside making line at 6 feet, but then as soon as you get into aisles, you're like within 2 feet from each other. Somebody picks up peanut butter, they're looking at the calories in the back, they put it back in there, and then the other guy comes in and puts it in their cart, So I don't know, like being in the medical profession, you know all about cross-contamination and keeping things cleanly. There's a lot of cross-contamination. Everything is contaminated one way
Okay.
or another.
Okay, I just want to hear from you.
So all you
Okay.
can do is clean yourself. You
Yeah.
know, like what I do is I just make sure I don't touch my eyes, touch my mouth, touch my nose, unless my hands are clean.
No.
You know, that's all I can do.
No, yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you. I just want to hear from somebody else because in my head, it doesn't make any sense, man. People wearing masks at grocery store, Walmart, man. You wearing a mask, but you're touching things like you said, the peanut butter. It doesn't make any sense, and that's not helping you at all. It's just you look like a joke, from me. Like when I walk in, I see people right there, I just laugh. I went to DMV the other day, like it has on the door right there. It's mandatory wearing a mask, mandatory. And no, I don't have a mask. What should I do now? And I look inside there through the glass. Everybody was wearing a mask. And you know what? I'm just gonna pretend I'm stupid. And I walked in. And the girl said, "Do you have a mask, sir?" I says, "No, I'm sorry, I don't." And she said, "No, it's okay." So I was the only one with not a mask. I felt like a gangster, inside the DMV. Like, yo, I'm breaking the law right now, Like,
You are.
but I was safe because everybody else was wearing a mask, right? So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
No, but the question was like, how did the COVID-19 affected your business? Like,
Uh,
what happened?
it probably slowed it down about 60%, so I was about 40% busy, primarily because some of the elective surgeries I pushed back. And I wouldn't say it shut it down because a lot of the stuff I still did. I just didn't do it at that time. I just pushed it back a little bit. So I still got to it. It's just, if I was supposed to make, $100 today, I'm going to make it. I'm just not going to make it today. I'm going to make it, in 2 months
But that's
or
not the
whatever.
same thing.
It is not the same thing because the bills were still there.
Yeah. The
But
money that you
nevertheless,
didn't do today, you never do it again.
true, because you can't recover
Yeah.
time. You can't recover time. And the main thing is for me, I just saw what businesses like gyms, like restaurants, and I saw businesses shutting down for good. Like they're not going to open anymore. And seeing that put things in perspective, because in my field I could still see emergencies. I was open 3 days a week, and I would still see emergencies, and I still got some revenue coming through the doors. But seeing other businesses, I realized I have no grounds to complain whatsoever. I'm very fortunate to be in a situation where I could at least have some form of income to help, pay my staff, and even though, I got this PPP loan or whatever it is to kind of be able to, pretty much, I mean, I have a pregnant, staff member with twins, and I couldn't let them not have a job. So I kept my entire staff and then let them go. For me, I don't know if I have to pay it back yet. They say it was supposed to be forgivable. It didn't matter to me. Like, if I have to pay it back, I'll pay it back. I just have to make sure that I took care of my employees
Yeah.
for as long as I could. I hope I don't have to pay it back, but if I do, I
Yeah.
feel like I did the right thing.
It is what it is. Yes.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Good. Your turn.
So I have a question regarding, kind of competition and training. And I've always kind of been curious, and I don't know if I asked you before or not, but would still like to hear your answer again. Why is it that when we train jujitsu, like there's so many restrictions as to what you can and cannot do? And particularly as you go up the ranks, for example, with black belts, why are there so many, I figure you're a black belt, you should be able to do anything, whether it is spine twister, because you're getting into it. You can tap out before you get injured, right? When you're going to get into an armbar or a triangle. And if you have a bad neck or a bad elbow, hey, tap. I don't even want to try it. So I understand that some of it may be because trying to prevent injury and prolong the sport, but do you feel that that's really doing justice to the overall sport? Or even the art itself, not just the sport, but the art? Like I'm looking, for example, I'll use one particular, like let's say you're trying to go for an armbar and you just can't break an armbar. This guy is strong or whatever it may be, but you could easily go through a bicep slicer from there. but that's not allowed. We don't practice that. We don't train it. But in situations where you're in a street fight and you don't know that, that may have been your only opportunity not to get your face smashed, and you missed it. So how do you feel about it? Do you think it should change? Do you think it'll ever change?
Well, this is my personal, like, my personal like point of view, right? It's not like related to federations or nothing, right? But all the rules are out there for a reason, right? It's like all the laws the society created is for a reason. Nobody come with a rule out of nowhere. They wake up one day, you know what? Let's ban the knee bars, right? That has been this way since forever. But the sport is evolving, so the rules are changing, always changing. Okay, so let's say, for example, in jiu-jitsu, everything that people come up with, and if they don't know the answer, they try to block it. Oh, let's block this. It's not legal, because sometimes they don't understand in the beginning, and then later on they let you do it. For example, in the beginning, when people start doing like a half guard, the federation thought about like stopping it, saying that's illegal position, because nobody knew how to pass, and the fight would be there stocked forever. But then they sat down, they keep working the half guard, and then, you know what? It's okay. And people did that, right? And then later on, 50-50 guard. When just 50-50 guard showed up, people got, oh man, let's ban it. It's not legal. Let's DQ both of them. And guess what? Today, 50-50 is good position. People has a lot of passing, a lot of sweeps, because the sport is evolving, right? But the submissions, man, I have two ways to see that, right? I have to see that as a teacher, as an entrepreneur, and as a fighter, okay, as a black belt. And like as a teacher, as a entrepreneur, business owner, all those positions are made to prevent injuries. Okay, all the positions that are banned in jiu-jitsu or not legal for like certain color belts, it's because that guy he's not ready to apply that submission. If we come to a white belt and say, man, you can do whatever you want to each other, two white belts fighting, man, trust me, 99% one of them is going to get hurt in 1 week. 1 week, right. Tops, 1 week. And with that, we lose one student. We lose it, that guy maybe never come back. And with that, it's hard to keep students on the mats. It's hard to keep like the mentality of jiu-jitsu for everyone. So we try to prevent injuries with those positions that are not legal, right? And like in special, let's say competition, nobody wants to see somebody breaks each other's spine in a competition, man. Maybe you and me, we want to, we're fighters, right? But my mom, my wife, that has their kids train jiu-jitsu, they don't want to see that. That's bad for the sport, you know? Maybe if it was like a fight club thing, nobody talks about the fight club. Oh, that's awesome. Kill each other and dump the body there. We're fine. But when you have kids watching, parents, and all those positions, I really believe that should be kept this way. Illegal until you're ready. But training, I think, is different, right? When you go train with somebody else, it depends on your instructor or your teacher. You can ask them, are we allowed to do this? If he says no, okay. If he says, yeah, like when I train with my students, I says, man, you can do whatever you want with me. You want to poke me in the eye? Good, go ahead. And then I'm ready. I'm expecting that. What is hard to do is like when I go train with a blue belt and he comes to heel hook me. And I wasn't expecting that. Like I was training with one purple belt one day, and I was doing guard. He grabbed my foot, the foot lock, right? The boot, the straight foot lock here. And I says, no, I'm fine here. I had a good position. But out of nowhere, he changed the angle, grabbed my ankle, and then popped right away. It popped my knee, and I didn't get mad at all. I just started laughing. I could stop laughing. And he was very, why are you laughing? This is man. I didn't say anything, but in my head I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know we're doing fight club rules, Now
Right.
I know, let's do it. You know? Because like if I'm not expecting, I'm not like I knew that he could go for that, but since it's not allowed, no, he's not going, it's not allowed. But right away, boom. Oh, okay. But that was my mistake. I was supposed to be one ready for everything. And I wasn't. I was playing by the book, like you said, right? And he came with the man, savage heel hook. It popped my knee, my leg, my hip. I didn't have time to tap. I was like, ah! I says, oh, okay, let's do it. So when my students want to apply to me something like heel hooks, fish hook, poke my eye, kick on the groin, just let me know. So I'm prepared, you know. But competitions, I think we're doing very good with the federation, with the rules. Good, you know, most of the rules I agree 100%. It's not allowed until you get certain level. But training, like you said, if you want to get ready for self-defense, street fight, just talk to your teacher. He says, hey, man, can we do knee bars? Can we go for heel hooks? Especially with him, I bet he won't mind. But just let him know, right? And of course, not against a white belt.
Right.
But also, like, you should be the one allowed to practice on the white belts. You could heel hook a white belt because you know when you should stop. You won't hurt him.
Right.
But it's not the other way around. Okay?
Yeah, makes sense.
My question. You, man, you are a fighter, right? You're born and raised to fight, Jaime Romero. I have my stage assistant walking behind the computer here. Hi, beautiful. It's my wife, Carla. She's my stage
Hi,
assistant.
Carla.
So, you're a fighter, Jaime. You were born to fight, man. I don't know if you know this, but you were born to fight. Since day one, man, since you working on planting those trees when you were 11-year-old. And also, we didn't talk about racing cars. That's something else that you do, right? Join the military, join the fight club, join jiu-jitsu. Man, you have that like on your veins, you know? I want to fight. And once you fight, it doesn't mean once to hurt someone, right? It's just I want to put outside. I want to prove to myself that I can do this, that. And that's such a great feeling, man, being a warrior. Not everybody understands that. Man, I'm a warrior. And being that, man, you are so like, you don't show that, right? You always show like you calm, relaxed, just like a real Jedi. But when the time comes, you become such a beast, you know, like, go for the kill. I'm going to tell you something. I remember one competition that you did. We did like in-house competition. If I'm not wrong, tell me if I'm wrong, okay? Somebody locked the triangle on you.
That's right.
Yes. Yes. And the guy had you on a triangle for, man, a long time. And the triangle was perfect.
It was deep, yeah.
It was deep. It was perfect, you know? But, man, you took like a real fighter or something, you know? And hold the triangle for a long time. I can't remember for how long. And finally you escaped and won the match. Right? That was awesome. That shows like a lot of soul, a lot of spirit, like the fiery spirit, you know, never give up. I'll tap right here, but I don't care. I'm going to nap, but I'm going to win this. And but the question is, I don't remember if you competed again after that, right? And then if you don't, why?
I guess part of it for me, I got into jiu-jitsu to try to learn like more like on the self-defense side of it, you know, not on the sports side of it. So for me, I never have interest in hurting anybody and I don't want to get hurt. So a lot of the times there's positions that I could have had if I would have been violent about it, but they escaped because I was easy about it. Because, you know, at that point, it's just there's no point in me hurting somebody by being violent. So me being a little slower allows them time to do it. And in competition, I just feel like there's like an element to it that it doesn't draw my attention. It's just like man, if it was like a submission only, maybe I would do it. Um, I was in the fight club, right? So we fought, you know, all everything goes. I grew up in an environment where everything goes, right? That's like life throws everything your way and you have to fight back. And I just never really felt really comfortable. I said, oh, you can't do this. Oh, you can't do that. And I remember there was a few times when I was rolling with some of the other students there, and I would grab the gi a certain way, or I would do something. And this is in the very beginning of my training back in 2014. And the guys would tell me, oh, you can't grab this way, or you can't put your foot that way, or that's illegal, and this is illegal. And right from the very beginning, I started losing interest in the sport right from the beginning. And it just kept getting less interested because it's like everything I do is illegal. And it's only illegal. Why? Because I'm making it hard on you, because you can't submit me as easy. I mean, why it shouldn't be illegal, right? Because I'm not hurting you. You're not hurting me. It shouldn't be illegal. And that was just kind of feeding into it, and it just made me like not really care about competing. However, I do feel this problem need to maybe teach, and I don't know if my lack of competing may hinder that. But I have this thing, like now that I'm helping my kids learn, or I get in there and I get with somebody that's a lower level, or I have a move that I know very well and this other individual doesn't, doesn't matter what level they are. I feel like as I'm teaching it, I catch myself on how little I know, because I do it, and I know what I'm doing. But when it comes for me to teach it, I realize I don't fully know it. It's until I start teaching it that I realize it, like, oh, now I know it, and that's probably more my thing. I don't know if I'll ever compete, but I must say over the last year or so, there's a little bug building in me that maybe I'll get in the ring like in one day and let's just win or lose. It doesn't really matter, It used to be also that I would only fight to like win, and there's just like, when I first started, I still was very like I wanted to, like that one match that one match with this guy. It's like, it's gonna be you or me today, And when I got out of that triangle and I grabbed him, I remember I got him in a rear naked choke. He didn't want to tap out. In that moment, I wanted to rip his freaking head off. It said, "You're gonna tap," and he tapped, right? But that feeling,
But that's
it's like, I don't know if I.
But that's the feeling that you should have when you go to compete, man. It's kill or be killed. But I say, people come to me, Professor, what my mentality should be when I go to compete? What should I think? Man, think you have to kill that guy softly.
Yeah.
Softly, with no punch and kicks. Because if you go ahead thinking about techniques, oh, I'm going to do this and that, like thinking about the rules, right? That's when you make mistakes. Man, your mentality should be, no, I'm going to kill this guy today. It's me on him. Just one's going to walk out of here. And guess what? It's going to be me because I have keys to raise, man. Yeah. I don't know about this guy, so I'm going to kill him today. But of course, I say softly, because you're going to use your skills, your jiu-jitsu skills. That's the best, right? Killing someone without using any strength.
Part of the fear is also, now that I feel like I'm more settled, I'm more understanding about, where I am in life. It is exactly what you said. I could go out there and kill somebody softly, but I don't know if my opponent will. And if I end up hurt, I'm like, I gotta work, and I gotta use my hands and arms and everything. If you kill me with the choke, whatever, you know what I mean. But if like you
twisting your fingers by accident, right? I know. But just share something with you that some people maybe don't know this. Man, you don't have to be a competitor to be a good BJJ practitioner or to become a good teacher. Not at all. You don't have to compete. If you think that I have to compete because I want to teach one day, because this and that, I want to open a school, I completely disagree with that. You don't have to. What I think is you must compete at least once in your life, like you did already. You know how it is. You felt the adrenaline. You step on the mats. You know what the feeling is. So you can share with someone. If someone comes to you and say, Jaime, how it is competing? How did you feel? And you can say just like that, You have something to share. I think it's really hard someone teach something that just learn from the books, right? It's like you asking, Jaime, can you teach me how to fly a helicopter? But just from the books, it's not the same. You gotta put your hand right here. You have to feel the weight. You gotta. It's like learn how to play guitar online and never touching the guitar.
Right.
I think it's the same thing. So if because I have some people that put lots of pressure on themselves, I have to compete. I have to compete because everybody's competing. All of my friends are competing. I'm the only one not competing. Man, like you said, everybody have a different life than yours. Nobody has the same life. So if one day you feel like competing, man, you know what? Let me compete this year just to see how I do. Because actually competitions is just test yourself to see how you're doing emotionally, right? Because also if you get too nervous, you're going to get out very fast. You're going to lose very fast, man. If you know how to control yourself, use more techniques, and then that's when you have fun. Okay?
Yeah. So other than students asking you, when their next promotion or whatever belt's going to be, whatever, what is one of the most annoying things that students do that just annoys professors across?
That's the first one.
Right?
Like, when's going to be my next promotion? Or my red dot is past due, was last week. You didn't promote me yet. That's the thing that bothers me the most. I spend 2 days without sleeping when someone talks to me about that. When it's a brand new student, and sometimes I just make jokes about it, But when someone that have been training for a while, like a purple belt, a brown belt, or actually I never heard from a purple, usually most from blues and white belts. That's something that bothers me the most, top without no question, right? The second one will let me think. I think it's when someone invite me to roll. Hey dude, let's roll. Hey bro, you wanna roll? That really bothers me, because the way that I was raised, that's very disrespectful. Very, very disrespectful. It's like you in military go to the general and throw something on him like a stupid question hey bro, did you you know what I'm talking about?
Right. No, I totally get it.
Just, hey bro, you do this. Hey bro, dude.
It should come from the top down. You should ask.
Yeah.
You should invite the student, not the student ask you.
And then if I was back in my days, I would say, who are you? Oh, what do you mean? Who are you? Do I know you? I'm your student. I have no idea who you are. Get out of here. You know what I'm talking about? But
right.
So that's the second thing that annoys me the most when someone comes and invites me to roll, because I know that I have to kill him. And I don't say anything. Usually when people come and say, hey bro, let's roll, I go my 100%. I don't play, And I try to submit him as much as I can, using as much weight as I can, my 245 pounds right now, and with no kindness. Because man, you invite him to roll. You want this, right? You're looking for this. You inviting a black belt to roll that he's way heavier than you. What are you expecting?
Right.
That I'm gonna let you smash me? No, if I invite you, maybe I'll let you smash me, because I want to have a good time with you. I wanna you have a good time with me as well, right? So I think that's the second thing that annoys me the most.
Yeah, I've also noticed that when you invited me to a few times, I feel, I don't know if you're doing this or not, but every time I feel like you deliberately put yourself in positions to see if I see the opening.
Sometimes, yes, of course.
And then sometimes I catch myself, I was delayed. I was like, man, that was there and I didn't do anything, And I feel like you're assessing me, as you're going through it,
Yeah, sometimes we do that, but it's pretty much to see where you are, right? So that doesn't happen all the time. But also sometimes it's when I'm trying to do my stuff without thinking about what you're gonna do. No, I'm gonna try this. And of course, when I'm trying new things, I'm having like an open rolling, open train, like a flow. I don't care what you're gonna do. I'm gonna try if I see if I can do it. And most of the time I can't because that's something new that I'm training with you. And most of the time when I invite someone to roll, it's like I'm gonna try. I try to match not skill level, but weight and strength. Right? I'm never gonna use 250 pounds against a guy that weighs 150 because that's not jiu-jitsu anymore. That's something else. I try to use my jiu-jitsu and speed as well to catch up with the speed in which I'm way slower. But letting people do what they want to do, I don't like to do that. You know. So don't think that way. Oh, he let me do whatever I want. No, because that's not a good training. Good training is I'm gonna go hard with you, but of course I want to use strength. I'm gonna try my technique. If I make a mistake, you got it, man. Awesome. That's what I'm looking for.
I got you.
And I hate when people go like easy with a new student, for example. Man, you don't have to going easy with someone doesn't mean you have to be a pussy. You know,
Yeah.
you can kill him, but kill him using technique and make him learn something from that. You know, it's not grabbing him like that and smash him to the ground, knee on brother, oh, submit him. No, that's not jiu-jitsu. You know, and then if a white belt catches me, man, I'll tap. I tell everybody, man, if don't worry, don't try to kill me because if you got me, I'll tap. I already tapped to everyone at the school right here. Everyone submitted, from the new student to the senior most, all of them. And I have no shame of that. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself and your kids related to jiu-jitsu, okay, in 10 years?
I hope I can be teaching. I don't know what level belt I'll be. You know, again, I'm not chasing the belt. I'm chasing knowledge. But I hope I can be teaching and helping somebody. I don't know if I'll own a gym or anything like that, but I would like to be more involved in the teaching aspect of it. Um, I know Marissa, she is very hardcore into wanting to compete. She wants to do a competition or two this summer already. She's just so she's also a big Ronda Rousey fan. She wants to go into UFC and MMA. I don't know where she's gonna end up with that because she's very gifted.
And let me
But
just break something. Man, she's so beautiful.
yeah,
She was already, but I think she's having that woman body, the head, the shape. You know, it's changing.
yeah,
Man, she's so beautiful. She's gonna give you such a headache.
yeah. I know, and she already gives me headaches, man.
Oh, I hope Trey's right there
Moment
to
she
help.
is a boy. So yeah, I think within my family, I know she for sure is probably the one that's gonna stay with it. You know, I don't have to ask her. She asks me, "Are we going to train tonight?" I'm like, "Yeah." And if I'm at work and I'm not close by, I'll get her somebody to pick her up and take her to train. Uh, with everybody else, I think they're doing it. They like it, but I don't see that fire within them, you know, to like, yes, this is what I want. But I see fire in her. It just reminds me of like that fire that I have every time I go train. It's like, yes, I'm gonna go, and it's not about winning and beating everybody up. It's just about getting there and just absorbing knowledge.
Yeah.
And I always tell them what I learned through jujitsu. You know, I remember once you told me, you know, in jujitsu you never lose. You either win or you learn. Yeah, I was a white belt when you first told me. That's the first time I ever heard that, and it stuck to me from then. You know, and I think jujitsu practitioner, I think by now should know that you either win and you learn, and that's how I now treat life. So I feel like with her and even my other kids, as they're learning, they know that there's no losing in life. You take a shot, you do whatever, but you either win or you learn.
Yeah.
And I have seen that change. So in 10 years, I hope I can be teaching. I hope my daughter, hopefully one of my kids has a school. I could be teaching at their school, you know. I know that was mentioned a couple of times, so we'll see.
Or you can own a bunch of schools, and then when you pass away, give the school to your kids,
Yeah,
right?
give the school to the kids. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
that's awesome. And like you said, man, there is no losing jiu-jitsu. You're always learning. And with that, I've learned a lot, man. I've learned a lot. A lot, you know?
So I know we're getting here like up on time, but I wanted to ask you kind of like an important question, you know, like if this was the last question that you were ever asked, you know, like let's say this is the last moment you get to actually record something on video.
Okay.
How do you want to be remembered?
Oh, man, as a guy that I had a good life. I laughed a lot. I had so much fun, and I'm ready to go, man. Every day I wake up, I look through the window, and you can ask my wife. I always say, today is a good day to die. Because yesterday was awesome, you know? And I think that, I really believe that, you know? I try to enjoy life as much as I can. I try to help as much as I can because I think that's life is about. It's about helping. It's not like about yourself, man. Like because we're gonna die tomorrow. That's why I keep saying, man, you're gonna die tomorrow. Did you know that? That doesn't happen just in the movies. It's people die for real. And once you're dead, you just disappear, man. If you did nothing behind you that's gonna left behind, you're just gonna disappear, vanish from the earth. Like in 100 years, nobody would know who Reginaldo Almeida was. And I try to make that different, right? I try to plant a seed somewhere with something that my name is gonna be on earth from a long time. Like Maximus,
The Gladiator.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
What you do in life,
Yeah.
what you
Well, within that same frame, you know, being remembered as a guy that had fun, lived life to its fullest, and everything. That's you as a person. But then, what is the message that you, if you were to speak to the world right now, what message would you give? This is the like last thing that you think of it like this, the last recording you have. What message would you want to give the world?
man, that's gonna be awesome if I die tomorrow, right?
Hopefully not,
But if I do tomorrow, that's gonna
but
be
your
awesome.
message could change everything.
Yeah. So I would say, man, train jiu-jitsu and love each other. That's it. Because I really do believe that jiu-jitsu can change the world. You know, just making people like have the chance to learn what jiu-jitsu is, the benefits that jiu-jitsu can bring to them or to their family members. People have no idea, man. I think we have like something in our hands. We have something very powerful. And I think it's our mission to share that with those one that we love, right? Because we know, man, the benefits that the sport brings to us. That's why jiu-jitsu is becoming so popular, right? We just have to spread them out more so people can have a chance to learn. I bet there is lots of people that have no idea what jiu-jitsu is. It's for me, it's almost like a joke or impossible. How can someone never heard about jiu-jitsu? It's like someone never heard about chocolate or ice cream. Oh, what is a chocolate? What is ice cream? Man, are you joking? You know? So my message would be like this one, you know, try jiu-jitsu and love each other, man. That's it, because you're gonna die tomorrow. Okay?
Awesome, man.
That was a very hard question to answer. Because I had so many things more to say before I die, I guess. I don't know. I have to think, you know, and write it down.
Yeah.
I have to write something for my family, you know, like please don't cry. I'm good. Right? How many questions you have left right there?
One more, I believe, maybe two.
So I think it's my last one too, right? So my last question would be the one that you made me. Okay, you go to bed tonight. You wake up tomorrow and I dropped $300 million in your bank account, okay, because I passed away, like you just said, okay, and I had so much money that I have to share. So I gave you $300 million. What would you do with that money?
I It's very similar to kind of what you were saying. I really want to be able to change education. I feel like our kids aren't really given the right opportunities. I think our education system is very flawed. There's a lot of waste, and I would like to try to reduce that, especially in inner cities. Um, I'm a big believer in fixing your own backyard, so I would start with the inner cities of where I live. Try to see, it's not the kid's fault. A lot of it has to do with the opportunities they're given. They're not really seeing past their neighborhoods. Sometimes they're just seeing, what's in front of them. I've been there where you're only trying to survive. And when you're trying to survive, it's like I said earlier, I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I just was taking it one day at a time, overcome one obstacle, overcome the next. And I want to be able to teach these kids that sometimes those obstacles can lead you to something absolutely beautiful. Accomplishing a dream that you didn't think it was possible. Because I feel like I've accomplished a lot of dreams, and it was by having the right luck, the right opportunities, the right hard work. I don't know, maybe just the right mentality. But for whatever reason, I feel like our kids don't know that. They just don't. They go to school, read this, fill out that form, do this project, finish that equation, and then that's it. Repeat and repeat and repeat. And I feel like to better our society, to better the world, we have to improve our education. So I feel like that would be my goal. My goal would be to just completely change the educational system and start like in a small community and be like, we're going to change everything. We're going to use top researchers, top knowledge in psychology and education so we can, you can start taking college classes in high school. There's no reason to take English and then English again, and history and then history again. And then all you wanted to do was be a researcher scientist. All that English and all that history is not really to mesh well with your brain. So that's my dream, man. And whether I have 300 million or not, that I'm still kind of passionate about it to such a degree that I think I'm going to try to do something about it. No, I don't think. I know I'm going to try to do something about it. I just have to figure out how. There's a lot of red tape,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of political benefit from both sides of the aisle, like some people benefit one way, some people, and I don't care. I really don't care about either one. I just care about our youth. I care about our future.
Nice. If there any way I can help, just let me know. I mean,
I will.
okay. I do really believe also that education can change everything. Like Brazil is going through a hard time right now, right? I mean, not right now, since a long time. And I really believe that education could be the solution. But who am I, right? I don't think I can change anything right now, but some ideas can put out there. And if I had the resource to help, then hopefully one day I will, right? That's what I would do as well.
Well, my last question for you, it's very serious, man, and this is probably going to cause some conflict to your viewers. Which one is the best Star Wars movie?
Oh man, it's very hard for me to name them, right? Which one is the best?
Oh, you can say one,
Yeah, let
two,
me
three.
just Google
The
here because I
original
don't know the
three.
name in English, but I'll let you know right now. Wait a second.
Is it on the original three or the newer
The
ones?
new ones,
Okay.
of course, because if you talk about the original, the first one was awesome. The first
Well, you
one
have
is
you
always going
have
to be
to
the
count
best.
all of them, right?
Yeah, what's the first one of the new ones? The third one, like with the girl.
Oh
No,
man,
no,
I don't.
I'm sorry. This last one, not the first one. This
Oh,
last
the
one.
Last Jedi.
Luke awakes. No, come on. Or do you say that?
Is it the Last Jedi?
The last one. No, 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 no. The last one. The last movie that Luke something, man. What is called in English? What's the last Star Wars movie? The Force Awakens or something like that?
No, no, I'm the Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
The
That was the
Skywalker.
best. That was the best. I cried watching that one. Man, that
Yeah.
was awesome. The first one with the girl, that was the
Yeah.
worst.
I
Oh
think.
my
Yeah.
gosh, that was the worst. Like I left the movie theaters. Oh man, why that? That was like a remake, you know. I didn't like, but this last one, man, with the Kyle, all this. I don't want to do any spoilers there, but that was the best. That was
Yeah.
the best with the hands. Man, it was awesome. I can't talk about it. Also made me cry, so you know, right?
Yeah.
So if I cry
Yeah.
watching a movie, no, I'm very easy to cry. I watch even watching cartoons, I cry sometimes. You know?
That's
But that
awesome.
was awesome. That's
Because it
great.
meant something to you.
Yeah,
There was something there that meant something to you. So,
yeah.
but thank you so much, Professor, for inviting me
Just
to hold
talking.
this.
So
Yeah. It's
Jaime, how do you call you? Jaime or Jaime?
it's Jaime in Spanish, probably Jaime in
Jaime,
Portuguese,
português.
right?
Jaime,
Yeah.
Jaime Romero.
Jaime Romero.
Jaime Romero. Jaime, muito obrigado. Thank you very much for spending a few hours here with us on Facebook, you know. And of course, this is gonna help lots of people. They're gonna watch later. Nobody sits down on a Sunday to watch two dudes talking for 2 hours on Facebook. Trust me. But
No,
during the
that's good.
week, I've been like hearing from guys that are watching and come and talk to me, and like it's good to know because lots of people don't know where you came from, right? Everybody sees Dr. Romero is just another doctor, man, and you are not, you know, you are way above just a regular guy, just a regular dentist. Like also people don't know, but you spend a lot of your time doing charity as well.
Right.
Lot of
Yeah.
your time, and people don't know that, man. And then you have time to run the business. You have time to raise three amazing kids or four,
Four.
right?
Yeah, our oldest is 24 now,
Yeah,
so
to raise four amazing
three.
kids, taking care of the family, run the business, and still have some time to do some charity and choke people out sometimes, right?
Well, with that in mind, whenever I do charity and anybody could use my services and they're, they don't have the finances to do it, is it okay if I shoot you dates and things like that so you can post it on the group? It doesn't have to be public if you don't
Absolutely,
want to, but
man.
there may be people that are in pain and
Uh-huh.
it'll save them a couple $100 and they could come in and maybe I can help them out.
Absolutely, that would be awesome. That'll be
Awesome, man.
great. Please do that, okay? I'll be waiting for that. So we run out of time. Again, thank you very much, Doc, and hope to see you back on the mats. And I hope you can bring the kids to train with me one of these days, okay?
Sounds good.
I can't
I'll
wait
do
to
that.
choke Melissa and Trey and Javier.
Yes, you should.
Take care.
Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye bye.